What you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want to make. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of the SCMS family, it is my honor to welcome you all to the Association of Indian Management Schools, Empowering Women in Academic Leadership Summit 2024, themed Innovations in Leadership Development. This summit is a critical platform to address the persistent gender disparities within educational institutions, fostering meaningful dialogue on transformative strategies that can enhance the role of women in academic leadership. In an era where diverse perspectives are key to effective decision making and institutional growth, this summit highlights the importance of nurturing female leaders. Together, we aim to contribute to a more inclusive and innovative educational landscape. To begin today's proceedings, we will now have the ceremonial lamp lighting. This tradition symbolizes knowledge, wisdom, and dispelling of darkness. I kindly invite our esteemed guest to come forward and join us in lighting the lamp, accompanied by the prayer.
सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्
Thank you to our guest for lighting the lamp. Please be seated. We have here with us today a panel of very eminent and elite experts from across the country. To accord them a warm welcome, I invite Dr. Radha Tevanur, Group Director of SCMS Group of Educational Institutions. Ma'am, please.
Good morning. It's a bright morning. Let us have a good morning. Yeah? I am indeed very happy and excited to do the honors of welcoming all of you, especially those on the dais who have been or who have taken major role in institution building. All the panelists all the speakers today are people of great repute. And listening to all of them will give you a lot of insights on not only on empowering women leadership, but far beyond. I personally don't believe that there is a women academic leader. I feel there are leaders. Be it academics or otherwise, they are leaders. So to welcome such a team, a set of people is a great honor. I'll go straight to my job, as Indu Madam has given me only 5 minutes. At the outset, I take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Sudhir Sharma, AIMS President, in his absence. He has been supportive in all the activities for the conduct of this event. A warm welcome to him. Dr. Apurva Palkar, founder, Vice Chancellor of Ratan Tata Maharashtra State Skills University, Mumbai, is the person who is going to address us. From the minimal that I said, you understood the profile of the speaker. Madam is also a panelist for the post-lunch session on AIMS perspective on women leadership. A very warm welcome to Apurva ma'am. This is the second time ma'am is coming on campus. Ma'am's talk would be followed by the keynote address by Dr. Indira J. Parekh, President, Antardisha, former founder president of Flame University, and former dean of IIM Ahmedabad. Ma'am, a very warm welcome to you. Madam is also a panelist pre-lunch immediately after the program. The next keynote speaker for us today is Dr. Meena Chintamaneni, Pro Vice Chancellor, NMIMS University. Madam is also a speaker and a moderator. Ma'am, a warm welcome to you. Madam has been very supportive for SCMS during our accreditation process. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. Dr. Jancy James is a name known to many of my generation people. Madam was the first woman vice chancellor in the state of Kerala. I get goosebumps even now. I had the honor of visiting her in ma'am's chamber when she was a vice chancellor, and she is also the founder vice chancellor of Central University of Kerala. A warm welcome to Jancy ma'am. She has even been part of SCMS on various occasions, a big honor for us. See how lucky Dr. Uday Salunke is. Dr. Uday, I mean, this photo I should be posted first. The honor that you have to sit amongst such eminent women personalities. A warm welcome to our leadership summit. You can be part of us. You can contribute. We listen to you. Dr. Uday is the group director of We School Mumbai and the chair-elect of ACBSP. We have many other eminent speakers as well. We have Dr. Nandagopal, past president, AIMS, Dr. Neelu Rometra, professor, the Business School and Dean Research Studies, University of Jammu, former founding director of IIM Sirmur, past executive board of AIMS, Dr. Amishi Arora, director, CIB MRD, Nagpur, again an AIMS member. I have my colleague, Dr. Nagaraj Shenoy, director, SCMS Cochin School of Business, Professor Dr. Narayani R., director, NMIMS Bangalore, Dr. T. Beena, principal, Happy Valley School, Coimbatore. Again, my colleagues, Dr. Lishan M. Joshi, Associate Professor, SCMS Cochin School of Business, and Dr. Dulari SS, Professor and HOD, MBA Department. Anu Matthew, my student, Talent Acquisition Leader for APAC, at G Healthcare Bangalore, Anisha Chirian, Director Chemanur Academy and Systems Private Limited, Deepa Murali, AVP CSR Unico Housing Finance Chennai, Dr. Ranjana Varghese, Dean External Programs, Xavier Institute of Management and Entrepreneurship, Cochin, Dr. Deepa Pillai, and yes, of course, Dr. Indu Nair, AIMS Executive Board Member and Group Director, SCMS Group. A very, very warm welcome to all of these people who is actually taking full lead in helping all the participants understand and explore innovative strategies in promoting and enhancing leadership capabilities in women. A warm welcome to all other participants, students, faculty at SCMS, to this wonderful, thought-provoking, and I feel a high-voltage event with such wonderful speakers. A warm welcome to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Due to contingencies, Mr. Sudhir Sharma, President of the Association of Indian Management Schools, is unable to join us today.
Dr. Apurva Palkar is the founding Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra State Skills University with over 29 years of experience in higher education and a strong focus on innovation, startups, and mass skilling initiatives. Before we go deeper into it, let's see what Sri Narendra Modi wants to say about Dr. Apurva Palkar.
उच्च शिक्षा क्षेत्र में भी महाराष्ट्र में महिलाएं नेतृत्व कर रही है। महाराष्ट्र हेल्थ यूनिवर्सिटी के कुलगुरु के रूप में लेफ्टिनेंट जनरल डॉक्टर माधुरी कानिटकर जी नेतृत्व कर रही है। महाराष्ट्र के स्किल्स यूनिवर्सिटी के पहले कुलगुरु के रूप में डॉक्टर अपूर्वा पालकर जी नई पहल कर रही है। ऐसे कितने ही बड़े और बहुत जिम्मेदार भरे पद हैं जहां महाराष्ट्र में नारी शक्ति अपने श्रेष्ठ प्रदर्शन कर रही है। इनकी सफलता इस
Congratulations to Honorable Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra State Skills University and Chairperson AICTE's All India Board of Vocational Education, Dr. Apurva Madam, on the well-deserved recognition from Prime Minister Modi ji during his speech in Palghar on August 30th, 2024. Madam, your leadership as the Honorable Vice Chancellor of MSSU and your efforts in spearheading various skill initiatives are truly commendable. Under Dr. Palkar's leadership, MSSU has emerged as a top-ranking institution fostering skill development and entrepreneurship. She has held key leadership roles, including Director of Innovation at Savitribai Phule, Pune University, and has been instrumental in forging over 100 collaborations with universities, governments, and organizations. A former national president of the Association of Indian Management Schools, she has also contributed to education policy and global higher education projects. A startup specialist and renowned researcher, Dr. Palkar has spearheaded numerous initiatives driving linkages between academia and industry. Together, you are inspiring a new generation of leaders and driving meaningful change. Wishing you a continued success in your impactful initiatives. Ma'am, we are most privileged to have you here with us on this special day. We now request you to deliver the summit into address.
Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries on the dais, our mentor, Guru, Dr. Indira Parekh, ma'am, Dr. J.C. Joseph, Dr. Meena, Dr. Sarunke, who has been a force behind a lot of women that we see here in this room and in AIMS, who is here and who has accepted gracefully to come in spite of his very busy schedule. Dr. Nandgopal, Dr. Radha, Dr. Indu, Dr. Pramod, I don't know whether he's here or not, Dr. Neelu, Romitra, my very dear friend, Amishi Arora, all the other women leaders who have come here today from different parts of the country, and 30 women participants today who have joined here to listen to all of us. Indeed, it is a great honor, privilege that AIMS for the first time decided that we should have a Women Leadership Summit. And it's really been a great initiative under the aegis of AIMS that we are doing this. And once this was said in the board meeting, literally Indu took this very, very seriously. So did I. I felt very bad that in one of the board meetings when this matter was discussed, I was absent. And I kept chasing Indu what happened in the meeting and where are we taking this summit to. Probably this is a feather in the cap because we are at the right time that we are talking about this in this country, where we are supposed to move from in the ladder from ranking number 5 to number 3 globally from the economic perspectives. And when we speak about the economic perspective, I'm really excited to speak about the fact that we talk of a population of this country where 49% of them are women and 51% are men. And when we look at the statistics of number of women getting into the formal workforce, the statistics is only barely 10 to 11% of women who get into the workforce. So there is a huge gap between people actually getting into the formal workforce and the population that really exists. I think this is a huge challenge for all of us. AIMS has taken this step not only today, but I'm also happy to share here, while one of our colleagues, Dr. Anil, when he was the president of AIMS, and at that time I was leading the Atma, we in the board had taken a decision of bringing down and slashing down the fees for women for the forms of Atma to 50% of what the normal people were giving. It is not that the 650 rupees would make a difference in the life of people, but it is about the motivation that women receive by seeing such initiatives which help them to get into mainstream professional education. For us, the biggest challenge today is to get more and more women into not only the formal education, but also tracking them through if they really join the workforce. And after joining the workforce, do they quit in between or do they reach the leadership level? And in the leadership level, are they really becoming the change makers? So these are the 4 steps for women, as I envisage, in the lifespan, where we see that there's a lot of dropout that really happens at all the stages. And when we speak of the dropouts at different stages, for all of us, everyone's career, we all go through different stages of our careers. The first stage of our career is where we try and explore, we try and establish ourselves. Men, women both do that. But when the women are just about doing that is the time when the first break comes, and that break is the maternity leave break. All of us have gone through that. I went through that myself. I took a break of 3 years when I had my child, and I think our generation was fortunate because we married early, we had our children early, but now things have changed. For women, this typical break comes at the mid stage of your careers. And when you're at the mid stage of your career, it becomes really challenging for people to leave the job. The second stage where women tend to move out is when I say that you are at somewhere established and moved from the mid-careers to somewhere in the leadership role, when typically Indian context, people have the board exams of their kids, is where you tend to move out. And the third and the last stage is where you have elderly parents and you have to take care of them. This doesn't happen globally, but this is an Indian phenomena that really happens. So at all the stages, what is it that organizations like AIMS could really do to help support, promote the concept? Individually, a lot of leaders are sitting here, and all of us have contributed in our own ways, informally or formally. When I went and joined the university for the first time as the founding vice chancellor, the first program that I launched was the program for women. These were women who had taken a break of 2 to 5 years for family reasons. And we ran a program in partnership with Persistent System. So that became a very formal structure where all of them, and this kind of excitement that was there, more than 700 women actually applied for the program, of which we were able to take only about 15 because there were only 15 vacancies in Persistent System that time. Plus also, there were other parameters because with a longer break, women tend to move out of the whole circuit of even the confidence level that goes down. It's not about the learning abilities, but it is also about the confidence that goes down for a lot of women. And I'm very happy to share that all of them are now working successfully in Persistent System, in Bangalore, in Pune, and various other, Nagpur and other cities. But these are formal structures which have emerged. All of us in our working lives have actually done that informally in various capacities. And while at the age of 35, when I became the director of an institute, the first thing that I did was try to get some of my friends who were extremely good in their academia and had quit work for family reasons. And I always give this example of my friend who was a MS Baroda University topper in BCom, one-shot CA, sitting at home with a small child of 2 years. The only thing that I promised her when she came to me is that I'll give you flexi time. And that is what excited her to come to work. And I said that as long as your son goes to the school is the time when you come and work for me, and we promise you a full salary. Believe you in me, the kind of commitment that I received from her and few more women who actually worked with me while I was leading this institution, I'm happy to share that 5 of them are leading business schools in the city of Pune. So it's about the small things that we keep doing every day in our lives to help and support women. In the 26th year of the operation of Association of Indian Management Schools, I became the founder president of AIMS. And in 26 years before me, there was only one president that we had, Shefali, before me. And after me, we've only had Sujata Mangaraj. So there have been so many efforts which are taken by past presidents. In fact, it will be unfair on my part and my speech will be incomplete if I don't give the credit of my coming into AIMS to Dr. Uday Salunke. I tell this as a fact publicly to everyone that I got into AIMS only because there was a motivation that came from a male member who felt that I had some spark in me, and he actually, Neelu, came in only thanks to Dr. Salunke that he pushed all of us, saying that, oh, women power, and this is not of what we're talking of today or yesterday. I came in some few years back, and he pushed us into, taking up roles, responsibilities. We took roles and responsibilities, started working for the association because that time we felt that we were in an institution, we are leading an institution, and we were very happy and contented about what we did. So that contentment was making us remain in our own cocoons where we didn't feel that we should go to an association, work for people, try and reach out to a policy maker. For the first time in my life, I went to a policy maker. Thanks to the Association of Indian Management Schools, I did this. I would not have done this, would not have got into this space. I would not have been sitting here and talking or standing here and talking to you, but for few of the male members who decided to bring a few of us inside, and not only bringing us inside, but giving us respect and giving us the opportunity to put our opinions and take up positions in the organization. Of course, a lot of water has gone behind for all of us. Now we have gone at different levels. But we can never forget that these were the few things that brought confidence in us. But let me tell you that associations like Association of Indian Management Schools have been working systematically to nurture women leadership from the business schools. And I tell you, we are the crafters of business leaders of tomorrow. And if we think that we are the crafters of the women leaders of tomorrow, it is essential and important for us to lead the way with an example of being what we are and what we showcase to the student community. Times have changed. When I started teaching in the year 1995, I taught a class when my age was only 26 years old, a class where 58 boys were sitting and only 2 girls were sitting in the class, to a situation now where 50% of the boys and 50% of the girls are sitting in the class in a business school. So this is the change and transformation that we see from the education perspective, but this is not all said and done. As I said, 8% has to go to 48% of people working and working throughout their lives. It is essential and important to get women out of their comfort zones immediately, because there is always a choice that a woman has, even after taking education. Should I be a homemaker? There's nothing wrong in being a homemaker, but it's essentially important that we also try and deliver internal satisfaction to our own selves and to the people that we belong to. When people say, wow, she is the one who is related to me, you feel really happy and excited about it. It's not about the financial motivation that keeps you going in your life, but there are many other intrinsic motivations that really make a woman of substance. And I feel this conference that has been organized by Association of Indian Management Schools in South India, when Nandgopal has taken a lot of initiative with Indu, Radha, all of them at the helm of the affairs, I think we will also make an appeal to the incoming president that every year we should have a platform like this where women would come, express their ideas. They will speak about the innovations, they will speak about the technological interventions that are happening in the workspace, and we would keep this as a platform where sharing of information by way of case studies and case papers and seminars, which is going to happen today and tomorrow, a similar platform continues in future. I'm sure we have the past president, Dr. Sarunke, and Nandgopal will take this back to the board, that we should also honor women and ensure that at least somewhere we promote the aspect of getting at least 2 to 3 board members. Not that we ask for a reservation here, but we are happy if at least 2 or 3 women can come on the board every year. And I'm sure in 34 years, if we have had 3 presidents, in times to come, we have more presidents who are women presidents, and this will be the forum that will bring women on the surface, and this will bring them out of the zones that they exist and they live in. All the best to Indu Radha for having created this whole thing, and I welcome all the participants, I welcome all the students who have joined this particular program, and I hope you take the best of it in next 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Professor Dr. Indra J. Parekh is the president of Andardisha, a platform fostering self-discovery, reflection, and renewal for individuals and organizations. As the founder president of Flame University, Pune, and former dean and faculty member at IIM Ahmedabad for over 30 years. She has made significant contribution to education and leadership development. Professor Dr. Indra J. Parekh has also taught at prestigious institutions like INSEAD and Texas at A&M University. Recognized with numerous Lifetime Achievement Awards nationally and internationally for her contribution in education, human resource, and for women. We also has distinguished author and currently focused on developing leadership models and a faculty development assessment scale. Ma'am, we are most privileged to have you here with us on this special day. We now request you to share your thoughtful with us in this gatherings.
My colleagues on the dais, all the audience sitting in front of me, a very warm namaskar to all of you. I'm very happy to be sitting, I'm privileged to be sitting with my colleagues here. Some of them I know for more than a decade. Some of them I have just met. And it just shows, look at the power of women who are sitting here. When I start looking at when did this issue come of empowerment, ours is an ancient civilization, and it has come down from the gods, and I'll tell you how. When Brahma created the world, and I have read this in the Puranas, he created the world and put everything here, there, and everywhere. But it was all very chaotic, and it was all very random. There was not a pattern or a rhythm or an order. So he said, who is going to do this for me? He looked around and finally found Goddess Saraswati, who would put an order to the chaos which he had created. So the women, right from there, the first role was to put things which are in chaos into order. And therefore, it's important that women prime ministers and presidents and vice chancellors, they come and start putting things and sorting out just as they do in their homes. They want to put everything in order, so they put the world into order as well. Now, Lord Vishnu is the maintainer of the universe. But for that, you need wealth. Anything you want to maintain, like this, if you want to maintain this building, you need money, you need wealth. So who did he look for? Goddess Lakshmi. And she provided the wealth to keep maintaining and keep the world in a certain order. And then if you had to destroy something, see, there are always enemies. So Lord Shiva could not destroy certain enemies which he had to fight. So he had to rely on his Ardhya Shakti to destroy. So whether it is to create, whether it is to maintain, and whether it is to destroy, women are necessary. And these women are powerful women. So women have always had the power, but we don't recognize it in ourselves. We don't even acknowledge. If we acknowledge it, we feel, what will people say? We get so much caught with what will people say that we really do away with our internal strengths. I'll give you an example. When I was doing my first Women Managers program, that was in 1979 in IIM Ahmedabad. And there is a process by which you design programs and conduct programs. So my OB, I had to get it through OB area. We were 10 members in the OB area, and when I proposed this program of women managers, they said, women managers? Why do you need special program for women managers? Women are invited to all programs. I said, give me one program where women have come. And I said, there is only one program where one woman had come, and she was so overwhelmed by being alone, and so much attention was being showered on her, she couldn't take it. So she came to me and said, I'm going to leave. I said, no, don't leave, just stick it out. I said, just discover that you can do it. He said, what do I do with so much attention? I said, it's their problem, it's not your problem. Let them throw attention to you, let them bring tons of flowers, accept it, and decorate your room. And forget that they are men. So it is important that women need to meet together and to discover how much, and learn from each other, how much strength they have. When finally, when I was telling my OB area, I need to do a program for women managers, we had a 6-hour meeting. And they would not agree. They would always, somebody would say yes, but, no, but. So finally, I got so fed up. I said, okay, do one thing. Everybody should give me a name and tell me why yes and why no. And it should be minuted. Everybody backed out. Finally, they said, okay, Indira, for an experimental basis, we'll give you an agreement. I said, for experimental or non-experimental, you give me agreement. Now that program, I had 45 nominations. And no program had 45 nominations that day, that far. And so it was the talk of the institute. And 45 women in beautiful saris roaming around the campus environment changed. It gave so much strength to the women students who were there. And the director, by mistake, in the inauguration said, we have so much color in the institute today. The women got really angry and said, okay, you think we are only color? And of course, he backed out. But that program was a success because there was 3 women who were standing on the threshold of becoming board members. And that was the first time women were getting on the board. And all these three women were hesitating to accept the board membership. But after this program and support by a lot of women, take it. So finally they took the board membership and did exceedingly well. Now, so we need support. I had support from women. Men, yes, but women, there was one Professor Meenakshi Malya, Professor Kamla Chowdhury. When women support women, it is seen that the women have arrived. If women cannot appreciate women, and if women cannot give compliments to women, they have yet a long way to go. So the first thing is that women need to feel strong enough, capable enough, competent enough, and not afraid of anything to be able to appreciate other women who are successful and who are doing new things. If we can do that, it gives a lot of courage to women. Now, my first international assignment to go to Papua New Guinea for a month came from Kamla Chowdhury. I remember her with a lot of fondness because she supported women, and it was one of the first programs I had gone which she had organized, where I met a lot of women struggling to move ahead in their lives. And then I discovered that I was not alone. And therefore I discovered I need to do many women's programs. And after that one program, I did 10 programs for women managers. What happened then, they started typifying me with women only, not my management work, but women. And although consulting was coming from management, but my recognition was coming from being a women's program person. So I stopped the program for 5 years. Then I discovered that all the women who had gone through the programs are now into leadership roles. So then I did women leadership program. Now, I have just completed, sponsored by TCS, a research on leadership. I started doing the leadership questionnaire. They wanted an assessment. And I did it. It took me 7 years to complete the research, and out of this, 4 books have come out. And I have told Dr. Narayani that I'm going to send her the books. This is where when I was interviewing women, some of the most fabulous women, very competent, very capable. One thing common was that most of these women had not given up their femininity. Now, women today give up their femininity. They want to be like men. So they are into pants, and they are into jackets, and they are into this, and they are into that. And they view. Once I was taking a program, and I looked around, all the legs down were pants. And there were half were women. And I was really taken aback that why would women give up their attire, which is the most beautiful attire in the world, and start looking like men. One of the things which need to be avoided is women should not be looking like men. And I'll tell you why I am saying this. It was already 2 years into IIM that I had started working. And my father came one day to my home. He looked at me and says, Indira, tere ko kya hua? All of you understand Hindi, na? Tere ko kya hua? मैंने कहा क्या हुआ पापा? बोले तू तो आदमी जैसी लग रही है. I said, how? But I was always in a sari. So my father said, चल मेरे को दुकान लेके चल. So he took me. What I had done was, being in IIM, I had taken out my payals, I had taken out my bangles, I was only wearing a Mangal Sutra and not my other things like I'm all put in today, my necklaces. He went and bought me 6 dozen bangles. Isko pehno. After that, I have never stopped wearing bangles. Now, bangles or being feminine is very important to keep your dignity, to keep your self-respect, and to keep your identity. And this identity means you can be strong. Femininity doesn't mean weakness. It is a social concept and not your identity concept. If you really sit down and think and reflect how much strength and what you have done and how much you have struggled to be where you are, you will discover that you have taken many steps which other women have not taken. And it has not been easy. And I'm never saying that this road to glory is easy. It's always, you see, when you want to take a new step, what will happen is people are going to throw thorns. If you have the guts to walk on the thorns and make your feet bleed, you have crossed the barrier. And they are going to throw thorns because you are doing something which others haven't done. And my father always said, Indira, kuch bhi karo, apne aap karo. Aur koi bole ki tum pagal ho, to bolla haan main pagal hu. And many people have called me pagal because staying where I was staying was surrounded by buildings, and I used to in the morning take my Zen and zoom out of my, to go to IIM and come back and then every few days they saw me packing my bag and traveling. तो बोलते ये तो पागल है, घर का ध्यान नहीं रखती है. So this whole concept comes, but if you think you are doing right, then it's their problem, it's not your problem. Half the time what they tell you is their problem, their attitude, their values, their beliefs, but not your problem. It is their problem. If you can accept that, it just frees you to take long steps, frees you to fly. So if you want to get acceptance from people, you will get caught by not doing things which you want to do. Acceptance, you accept yourself. If you look at some of the things which are written in Gita, they are wonderful. They said women are glorious women because they have 10 characteristics. Now I don't remember the 10 characteristics. There are 3 are for the external world and 7 are for themselves. And those 7 are for whatever I remember now. One is courage, one is graciousness, one is memory, one is forgiveness, one is kindness, and one is nurturing. See, you have all these qualities which men don't have. Or even if the men have, they do not display it because the society has not let them given the approval to display those qualities. So you need to really ask yourself, and I'll tell you the dilemmas which I have come in my life trying to cross the steps and take the steps which I needed to take. See, for example, when I had to travel quite a bit, more than my husband did, and he hated traveling. So he says, you travel on my behalf. But my husband was a good person who could smile at some of the things which I did stupid. And he could accept it without complaining or shouting or screaming. If one thing I can say in our 47 years of marriage, and now he has passed away 17 years now, but not once has he raised his voice to talk to me, not once, in 47 years, which has given me so much strength and so much courage. I'll give you one example. Just after marriage, we went to Switzerland. We were going to the US. I had never seen an escalator in my life. And I saw the escalator for the first time in Zurich. So I went down, I said, can I go up again? He said, yes. I 5 times at 2 o'clock at night, I went up and down. He just stood there smiling and finally said, I'll bring you back to go again, but let's go back to the hotel. He never got angry, how stupid, how this, or how that. He just let me do the 5 times, I mean, just if I say 5 times escalators up and down I went, like a child would do. And I just, he actually brought me back somewhere, some other escalator, but he took me. When I entered a department store which I had never seen, coming from Calcutta and Ranchi, I had not seen a department store. And when I went to a department store, I started dancing. I said, my God, kitna sundar hai, ye to fairy tale, fairyland hai. And my husband just would stand like this and smile at the silly things that I did. So I think we need to have a lot of tolerance and a lot of understanding for each other, especially husband and wife, to maintain a married life which is very good. Nowadays, accommodation, adjustment words have disappeared from our vocabulary, from our dictionary. The amount of problems there are problems which are manageable. We don't seem to be able to do it. And women don't understand that their ownership of their husband comes from their stomach. Would you agree? जितना अच्छा खाना बना उतना पकड़ के रख सकते हो. So never give up your kitchen. Nowadays the trend is 3 दिन मैं खाना बनाऊं, 3 दिन तुम खाना बनाओ. 3 दिन मैं बर्तन धो, 3 दिन तुम बर्तन धो. That's no way to live our life. Women's role is something very specific which needs to be maintained. Men, sometimes I have seen men say with immense amount of sadness they can't bear a child. And now women can bear a child, so they need special spaces to live in a special way. So you have to demand that, and the organizations are doing a lot of things to provide women some of the benefits which are necessary for women to manage their children. So that part is getting better and better in the country. Now, let me come back to my last point. If you want to feel that you want to do this, and you want to do this your way, you have to do it. Just do it. Once you do it, nobody is going to stop it. And I have seen that I have taken steps which are, like when I have gone out into the international assignments, people have made a lot of comments. But finally, it all settles down. You do what needs to be done for yourself, which is good, and for which is your career, and you feel empowered. Now, when I was the president of FLAME, there were a lot of issues about 3-year and 4-year. I said, this is non-negotiable. It is a 4-year program. It is going to be a 4-year program. 3-year is non-negotiable. And if you do not like it, just leave. You have to have the courage to hold on to your philosophy, to your values, to what you believe in. And if the consequences, accept the consequences. The consequences are not going to be so bad that you are going to be left behind. So you need to have first clarify your own philosophy, your own stand on certain things, and then remain firm on it and not just give it up because somebody is going to say something else. So I have done this many times and people have called me many names and I have said, okay, तुम्हारा problem है, मेरा problem नहीं है. If you can say, तुम्हारा problem है, मेरा problem नहीं है, it gives you immense freedom to do lot of things, take a lot of initiatives, bring your creativity into the space, take lot of initiatives and contribute immensely, which you will create a legacy. The most important thing is create a legacy for yourself which is yours and not a copied one. Do not copy anybody, do not emulate anybody, but create a path, create a role which is yours, which others will follow. Thank you very much, and God bless us and God bless our country.
Thank you, ma'am. Dr. Meena Chindamaneni, Pro Vice Chancellor of NMIMS University, holds a doctorate in pharmaceutical sciences and brings over 25 years of experience in academics, research, and administration. She has held various positions including professor, associate dean, and registrar. Dr. Chindamaneni has guided numerous MPharm and PhD students and has a strong research portfolio with 39 publications, 1 book, and numerous presentations at national and international conferences. Dr. Chindamaneni has served as a national coordinator for NBA training programs and frequently conducts webinars on outcome-based education. Dr. Chindamaneni has received multiple awards for her contributions to education and research, including the Best Professor in Pharmacology and recognition for her research papers at international conferences. She is an active member of various professional organizations and has participated in numerous funded research projects. Additionally, she is an evaluator for NAC, a PCI inspector, and a member of several professional associations, including the Indian Pharmaceutical Association and the All India Pharmacy Teachers Association. Ma'am, we are most privileged to have you here with us on this special day. We now request you to share your thoughts with the gathering.
Dear honor, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, my colleagues, my dear students. I was actually reflecting what I was going through my journey when ma'am was speaking. So I continue from there, from where ma'am just cited a few examples, starting from, who was the creator and who was given the chance by Lord Vishnu to sort out the chaos that was going on in the educational field. So yes, coming from a very conservative Hindu family and being a Tam Brahmin myself, we also grew up in a place, in a home where Goddess Saraswati was the most worshipped, right from the time when we learned to first write an alphabet, to have prayers being told, and right from the beginning, in my childhood, I still remember the stories being told that why is God Saraswati to be worshipped? Why is God Saraswati so important and so powerful? And that's one thing that is so imbibed and engraved in my mind, that what comes to you in the way of education is the only thing that nobody can steal away from you. And that's the reason why we were so inclined towards education and getting out whatever talent we had. In fact, I was a lot interested in fine arts. So wherever there was an opportunity, I used to participate and I used to portray whatever I liked. And at that point in time, there was a thought that there's no harm in taking up fine arts as a career. But unfortunately, I couldn't get that kind of training. I tried a lot of times. But my mom and dad always said that do not worry. No door would be shut, There is a door open for every individual in the universe. That's the lovely way that Brahma is created. So if you wish you need to do something, please knock the doors, and the door that opens for you, do it with utmost sincerity and commitment, and then rest the things will follow. Of course, with not much of exposure, yes, I am not from management domain, I am from the pharma domain. I've all along been in my career in the pharmacy field. Not much exposure to an industry, but of course to an academic setup. I grew up in Bombay, born and brought up in Bombay. Went for my studies in Pune. That was the first exposure when I stayed alone. Got to understand there are many more things that happen which doesn't happen in your secured home when you go in the morning to the school or college and come back in the evening. So there are a lot of things that happen outside the world. Post that, there was one thing I told you first, that I come from a very conservative family. I was just 19 when my father said, I think it's time to get married. I said, I'm not finished my B.Pharm, because general degree is 3 years, B.Pharm is 4 years. So I'm yet to complete my degree, and so he says, those are parallel lines. We parents will not think bad for you, but things that have to go on will go on. And believe me, I was wondering, because I was the first in my class of 66. And as ma'am said, we were 18 girls and the rest were boys. I was the first one, and mixed opinions that, what are you going to do? Why are you doing? Object to it. X, Y, Z. And believe me, I did what my father told me to. And that was the biggest game changer, because my in-laws were more supportive. The in-laws were more supportive. I completed my B.Pharm after my wedding. I joined for M.Pharm immediately after my B.Pharm. I took a break after my M.Pharm. I then did my PhD and then started working. It was not that I had to, probably God was favorable and God was very kind to me. I did have good mentors. But the point I would like to say is, I put my heart and soul into the family that I went into. Because as ma'am said, that the best part of holding the person is through the stomach. I've still not given up cooking, ma'am. The reason being, early in the morning when you leave for work, in fact, me and Nindu were discussing last time when I had come. Early in the morning when I leave my home, my family today has 6 members. My elder son, his wife, my younger son who's still in college, me, my husband, and my mom, who is 75 years old. When I leave in the morning, each person has their own wishes and own choices, but we fulfill it too. But evening when I'm back, I have no swollen faces at home. It's all a pleasing way. Everybody is so happy. Everybody sits together, discusses whatever has happened throughout the day. And that keeps motivating. I don't know where the energy comes from. That's only because the love and affection that people have given. I'm standing here today with, say, 25 years of experience and whatever she must have told, but it has not come by itself. It's of course from the support, and the first support is the family. Had it not been that I was not permitted to study, of course I studied, I wouldn't have been in this position. So it's not the opportunity by itself, but it's the mindset today that needs to change. But the family also looked into that what would be the contribution of the girl who's coming into the family without any expectation. Absolutely no expectation. I got to know there's so many things that go around in a household. It's exactly after my mother-in-law passed away. That was the way I was taken care by my mother-in-law. I never even have seen her eyebrows knitting, because I got married when I was 19. So whims and fancies, I want this, I want that. We're used to, because we are 1 or 2, not like 9 or 10 that our parents have grown. We are just 1 or 2, and today there is not even one. There's some puppy in the house whom you try and say it's fine, kushu, pushu, or whatever, right? So I was just recalling all those flashback memories that came up. But then something that I wanted to share was, why did we, although there was an opportunity, what were those challenges that we really had to face? It's not a very new thing that I'm going to be talking about, because we're talking about those days where Goddess Saraswati was the goddess of intellect. We still have that kind of belief and we worship her. We did have female philosophers who had Vedic hymns and who actually at that point in time when nobody even dared to write these Vedic hymns could argue with male people and get those Vedic hymns which we today also read with most dedication. There are stories of so many people who have had so many challenges. The only thing that today, for two things that I would like to discuss here, thinking of how I could take up this and being so inspired by ma'am. I met ma'am first, maybe 20 years back with Dr. Rajan Saxena. I had accompanied when he was having a meeting with her. And he just mentioned that one day we will have her here in our university, having the liberal arts being done, because the thought process itself will give a strong foundation to the syllabus and to the way we will conduct our liberal arts. And that's what happened, ma'am. You came to NMIMS, I don't know whether you remember or no. You came to NMIMS, you were quite involved, and that's where we felt how different is, because I come from a science background, and how different is the thought process, and you shouldn't stop anything because that has its own importance. But believe me, when I joined, I'm there in the institute for the last 20 years. I was just talking to Uday sir, that I'm there in the institute for the last 20 years, so that becomes my first home. It hasn't been easy. Because today also, probably I'm the only lady in the leadership position at the university. So people don't realize, once we were sitting in a meeting, and it was almost 6:37. I have a habit of looking at my watch if I'm late. The then Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kondap, he said, it's an important meeting, why are you looking at your watch every time? I said, no. The things can wait, the points of discussion are not so important that we need to sit so late. There's something beyond the office hours that we need to, which none of the other males could even think of. The reason being I was the only lady member there. And that was a time when I felt, and there's nothing wrong in it. From then on, if I've finished my work for nothing else, nobody stops me at my university. So that's the time I felt we should speak at the right time. If it's required, I would stay the whole night, absolutely fine. But if it's not required, I have probably the priorities set in after the office hours. So that was the starting point, and that's where I was picked up from the school to the university to head as a registrar. Again, there was a big chaos because registrar becomes a non-academic position from an academic teacher, from faculty, from a dean. You're going into a non-academic position. There were so many things, so many people spoke saying that, "Arey, aap to chaprasi ban jaoge." Matlab, that was the statement. "Aap to chaprasi ban jaoge." But you become a non-teaching staff. Why do you want to become a non-teaching staff and you want to become like a peon? You're a faculty, teaching fraternity. We had a long discussion and we said that if the stepping stone to something, because registrar is the first position in any university who is on the roll. Rest are on contractual basis. So the person to be sued and the person who can sue is the registrar. The only sentence that impacted me was the sentence in UGC rules and regulations. A registrar is a person who can be sued and who has the right to sue others. I thought it's a very challenging position. The moment I took it, we have 17 schools in Mumbai and 6 off-campuses currently running pan-India. Probably it was the hottest seat with all the regulatory compliances, with all the people coming in, for whatever reasons it is. And believe me, I never thought it was deliberate, but one day I got a note saying that even the facility management needs to be looked after by the registrar. I was taken aback because there was nobody, and the buildings are so huge. I was not from that domain. Luckily, my son was doing his mechanical engineering. Even to check whether the HVAC is working properly, or probably all the other things, he used to explain it to me with the diagram. I used to, with that diagram, I used to go down to the place, understand the working, and it just came up. It was not very difficult. Unless you get into it and you know it, you wouldn't be in a position to run it. But doing so, then the point came, the whole housekeeping security needs to be looked into, because that's a part of the job. I was wondering, there were equal number of comments that used to come in saying that look into it. The teacher who used to teach and get a feedback of X is now taking care of the cleaning of the bathrooms in the office. I mean, that used to be the kind of statements. Is it something that a woman needs to do? Enough of taking care of the household. These were actually the comments that used to come in. But I started loving my job. Today, in fact, any housekeeping, any security, there's one of the YouTube, I think, reels being most famous, which I got to know a month back, which has hit almost more than 20 million views. It was our housekeeping, because on security of my girl students. Something after the Calcutta event, I thought I should make a reel and pass it on to all my girl students so that they feel safe. So there are very ways and means, no offense to anybody, but it's something that you feel you can do it, I did it. And today it's something which the credibility goes to where the work speaks for, absolutely no recommendations, absolutely no buttering for to be in any good books. All these things that have been laid down by yourself as a principle, I feel that's the stepping stone to success. But there are many challenges that you need to overcome, but it's your inner feeling. Ma'am said that ma'am took 3 years maternity leave, right? It's a break that every lady takes in. For my first child, I just took a 3-4 months break. For the second child, I was in a better position. I took a year's gap. But it's very difficult breaking that inertia and coming back, fighting all those odds. And then today look into, when ma'am was speaking, as I told you, recalling all that flashback, you feel you've come away so far that it's only because of your determination. And that determination, no offense again to the younger generation, they lack a little. Everything goes very easy. As she said, 3 days you cook, 3 days I cook. Bombay, it's still different. You don't cook, I don't cook. Third person cooks. So it's not even me and you, it's the third person who cooks. So it's absolutely fine to have a helping hand. But it's something that, why are we working so hard? It's for our living. If the living itself is pushed to somebody, what are you doing it for? It's something where once my teacher came and said, when I was the dean of the school, I can't take a lecture today. I said, why? I can't take a lecture today, why? She said, there's no electricity. In Bombay, it's not very common that you don't have electricity. So I said, why don't you have, what is the connection between not having electricity and not having a lecture? Open the windows, open the doors, and you can take a lecture. Why do you cancel the lecture? She said, ma'am, PPT doesn't work. PPT doesn't work. That's where, unfortunately, it has become today that we've become handicapped, and that's where it happens when you don't have passion and commitment. You don't need a PPT. It's a teaching aid. It aids your teaching, right? But it so happened that today's generation, that's the time we started having train the trainer very seriously. And from then on, today I think 12 years, in at least my pharmacy department at NMIMS, we have this small FDPs, especially for youngsters. That how do you, ultimately you're in teaching whether you like it, whether it's by force, but today as you have picked up teaching, how do you really generate that interest? And I'll tell you, it's very easy for we ladies because we are all multitaskers. At home we manage so many people with so many emotions and so many wants and likes and dislikes. It's very easy to manage office because it's people management. It's people management. Ma'am spoke about OB. That's the only thing that I say, you get the things that you want to in an organization in the way you want to, but without displeasing the others. This has gone a long way. I was just reading. In fact, Dr. Narayani had given me quite a few points which she had pointed out, the challenges which came up, where it's not only here. even abroad. When it came to Madame Curie, she was a Polish. She couldn't get her admission for graduation within her country. She had to go to Paris to have that. And after seeking her degree, when she became a researcher, she was not given a place in the university. Very surprising. When she managed to get a place for research within the university, she did not get a support. The person who supported her and gave space within his research lab ultimately became her life partner. And when both of them, along with the third person, did a particular invention, was selected for a Nobel Prize. But the Nobel Prize invitation to be applauded and to be recognized came to only 2 male members, missing the third person, just because she was a lady. It was he who said that no, if she is not being invited, it's a mutual thing. We 3 of us have worked together. If she is not invited, we do not come to receive the Nobel Prize. And that's how 3 of them got the Nobel Prize together. But the inner feeling was that she was not appreciated. It was only that she was a support to others. Within a decade, she had another invention, did it alone, and that also won a Nobel Prize. So what I wish to say is, things are not very simple. It's not a very rosy picture. Things are always greener on the other side. But if you really wish to do it, sky's the limit. And every individual has it. The only fear that people have is, number one, would I be successful? Absolutely not. Every time you're not going to get success, but you learn from whatever you have failed. If you're clever enough, you never make the same mistake again. The second thing is, how do I swim through when I am alone? And how do I convince? You don't need to convince anybody. When your work speaks for it, people get convinced the next time. So any time is the first time. This place has got more than 50% of the people who are young. Ma'am, if you will be surprised, I was just looking into the statistics. There are less than 3% of vice chancellors who are women in India. And there are less than 50%, or to be exact, around 48% of women who are in the leadership positions. When I talk about leadership positions, I'm talking about a dean, a director, and holding positions at the university. Or there are people who reach there, who are working, but they don't get into the leadership positions. Is it that they are not worth, they are not capable? They are. But there is a stigma, there is something that stops them. So along with some flexibility, as ma'am said, if we could give an inch. One day, my younger son said, you talk about equality, then why do you need something special? I said, it's not something special. It's something that we want them to come to the forefront, because it's taking time for women to believe they can do it. It can be done only through support. I gave my example to him then. If I wouldn't have got support, I wouldn't have reached a place where today I even work 12 hours a day with no swollen faces at home. That's the balance that you need to learn. And I'm proud. In 2001, I attended the first conference of AAPS. That's one of the pharmaceutical conferences held in US annually. And I'm very happy because I had got a grant and I was visiting it, US for the second time, but going for a conference alone. I went for the conference, and generally they display the posters in pharmacy, and you have a particular time where people come to ask questions to you, and that's how it is there. I remember I was wearing a sari, and there were 2 people who specifically came to me just to ask. I used to wear a little bigger bindi, and what is this called? And this beautiful sari. You would not believe, I got my registration fee waived as a token for having the Indian culture being displayed in a conference and not having any deterring or wavering mind. And just opposite used to be the Disney World in US. Believe me, I enjoyed, I probably was the only person who was in a salwar kameez when I was the whole sitting in all that roller coaster and all that. But it didn't make a difference to me at all. And that's where I am. Be as you are. Do what you can. Believe in yourself. Yes, support is essential, psychologically, socially, emotionally. But that's your choice where you seek it. And be successful in life. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Professor Dr. Uday Salunke, a renowned leader in management education and a visionary academic administrator. As the director of V School, one of India's premier business schools, Professor Dr. Uday Salunke has been instrumental in shaping the institution's success. With over 35 years of teaching and corporate experience, including stints at Mahindra & Mahindra, he brings valuable insights from both the academic and corporate worlds. A recipient of the prestigious Eisenhower Fellowship USA, Professor Salunke has extensively researched academic leadership development, social innovation, and entrepreneurship. He has held numerous influential positions, including chairman of ASSOCHAM's National Council on Education, co-chair of the Confederation of Indian Industries Committee on Education, and member of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries Higher Education Committee. Professor Dr. Uday Salunke's expertise has been sought by the Government of India, and he has represented India in international forums. Sir, we are most delighted to have you here with us today. I now request you to share your thoughts with the gathering.
Thanks for a very generous introduction. All gracious ladies who are present here, Dr. Indira ji, Dr. Apurva, Dr. Radha, Dr. Jansi ji, Dr. Meena. Here we have Dr. Neelu, Dr. Amisha, Dr. Narayani, our own mentor, Nandagopal ji, Indu ji is here. Sudhir ji is not representing, unfortunately, but ma'am is here, daughter is here. That's good to see. And other fellow faculty members who are present here, and a lot of students who are, I'm sure, appreciating about the women leadership point of view. That's why the attendance is good. I'm sure Induji must have told them that, yes, please be here. But it's wonderful to be kind of, be in this gathering. And I thought probably when Sudhirji spoke with me, probably Sudhirji wanted me to be here, maybe as one of the senior past president, that how probably we can really encourage more women to come on the board. And Apurva very profusely, very generously used kind words. So thank you, Apurva. But I'm sure the entire board is looking forward to how we can really take this to higher up. As Dr. Apurva did mention, that we had only 3 women presidents till date today, in the existence of almost close to 35 years of AIMS from 1989, and which is, we feel ashamed of ourselves, seriously. Probably, I'm sure that's our responsibility to encourage and get the women leaders on the forefront of this. But I'm sure in yesterday's meeting itself, in the board meeting in Coimbatore, we did discuss. So I'm sure, I think Dr. Apurva is here, Radhaji is here, Induji is here. So probably I think we should take our agenda a bit more ahead. All women leaders have expressed wonderful stories, and what they said probably is so much true, that men can focus on career to the great extent. They are not really been bogged down by taking care on the home front or much on that side, even though to some extent one can share, but still, I believe, I'm sure men are privileged. But despite of so much of challenges, so many, I'm sure ma'am mentioned also about multitasking, so much of multitasking is happening. And despite of that, they're coming forward. But the percentage which is being mentioned is still quite a smaller number, but I'm sure they will be on the forefront. Somewhere deep down, I really feel sometimes the people, women leaders also perceive that the diversion to the leadership position may deprive them from their own passion, maybe their own competence, maybe in research, maybe in other areas as well. So from that point of view, they may definitely think, but yes, over a period of time, I'm sure they do realize that things will be very different. When I'm actually looking into the role of academic leader, or definitely men also need to learn. It's not mere what I'm sharing with you all, it's not meant for only women, but I'm sure men are equally need to be learner on that point of view. But leadership is quite a bit beyond disciplines. It's also about being disciplined. And to the great extent, in our kind of societal culture, sometimes it is being perceived that your qualification, your academic skills, as well as your competencies are not automatically transferable to the leadership positions. But I'm sure that really in hindsight, when you take a stock, you may find that that is really useful. Somewhere I'm just looking into a couple of points wherein which aspects actually one should keep in mind when we're looking into academic leadership. And the first, I'm really getting into training and preparation point of view. And within that, the first one is investing in yourself. At least I have seen Dr. Apurva very closely when she was managing her own business school. The kind of courage, kind of conviction, kind of resilience which she has shown, despite of a lot of ups and downs. It's wonderful. It is not easy. So how you probably prepare and invest in yourself to be on the forefront, it is really necessary. And that investment can be of multiple types. I always believe the significance of IBR is greater than ROI. We, being in business school side, being in business, probably we look at ROI, and I'm sure many leaders look at ROI as well, return on investment. But that IBR is investment before returns. The significance of IBR is greater than ROI. So how you invest from your side, be it your kind of resources point of view, be it your currency as a time point of view, be it in terms of anything, maybe tangible resources, intangible resources, but we should be prepared, and this is applicable not only for women, but men as well, definitely. So I think this aspect, I feel, and always I'm of the opinion that aspect of unlearn, relearn, and actually be on the curve to raise that bar time and again, which is really required. And while doing so, the academic leadership is not mere you are dealing with one or two stakeholders, but I'm sure obviously you'll find your students, your alums, your faculty colleagues, your top management, government as a stakeholder, you'll find society as a stakeholder. So you'll find really that approach of multiple stakeholder driven, which is probably need to be picked up. And many times, at least my experience with Wellinger for almost 29 years and 11 years with the corporate, 40 years, at least I got very positive results from the women leaders or women participation. Even starting from the student council, because students are sitting here, we made it a point almost from 1995 that all student council, be it managing council, be it placement council, the leadership, if the boy is a GSEC or PSEC, the girl has to be DEP and vice versa. So you try to do the gender balance, and even out of suppose 7-member team, 3 or 4 or 4 or 3. So we encourage always the leadership point of view. I must mention here with the pride that out of today we have almost 25,000 student strength, but out of my top leadership, which is maybe dean's level or program heads level, 2/3 are women leaders. And the results which are being delivered by women leaders, despite of their challenges, I'm sure they manage on the home front, they manage office front, plus even multiple other tasking, but despite of that, definitely the results are very evident. And time and again, I feel that is awesome. And in this, while getting through training and preparation, with this forum of AIMS, organized by SCMS, Induji, Radhaji, Apurva, and the team, is fantastic. It's really nice. Such kind of forum throughout the year on multiple occasions is required across country with our chapters, our regions as well. There's one more forum which is coming up, which is of ACBSP, which I'm sure Nandagopal ji is on the global board. And I'm currently the chair-elect. So we are hosting Global Conference of South Asia. And that's a wonderful platform for the women leaders, or even men also, to write research papers. Students also, there's a good opportunity of school of thought, entrepreneurship point of view. I'm sure Radhaji will take it forward in this. But at the same time, or maybe similar kind of forums, be it NHRD, National HRD Network, be it SHRM, maybe there are many such platforms, how probably you can leverage. But giving yourself exposure is important. The second aspect which is important is importance of developing network of people and relationships. And this is by design, not by default. One need to really look into it in these networks of maybe mentors. Sometimes we need to believe that only one mentor for ourselves may not be good enough. We may need to have multiple mentors, multiple board of directors, which is really required. Sponsors. Sometimes we may have to look out for the sponsors within the organization, outside the organization. Peers, network with the peers, some kind of role models, executive coaches, and help also getting into the valuable feedback from the different stakeholders at the same time. This will definitely help us to understand the different stakeholders with the different lenses, different mental models. And this network, the cliche, it may sound cliche, but we say that network is net worth. But it helps you to mitigate the risk in your business decisions. May we again use VUCA world and multiple different kind of complexities. But how do you mitigate the risk? Unless until you work out the ecosystem of your own people. The third major area is having a broader influence. As Indiraji mentioned, in terms of moving from Ahmedabad to Flame and multiple kind of other roles, responsibilities she has really showcased, somewhere deep down, one of the aspects for the broader influence is the mindset, like a T-shaped mindset. The breadth of the T is going beyond even your own domain to the other aspects, be it in management, be it in science, whichever, and the depth of the T can be your interest or inclination. The T-shape definitely helps you to acquire, from the long-term point of view, to be successful leadership role, I'm sure, because one domain helps us to go to one level, but beyond that, there are multiple things which we need to learn. Second aspect, this also demands for, broader influence demands for stretch beyond your comfort zone and taking risk. When you say, at least because we come from the business school background, I come from business school background, we may say that yes, in which business there is no risk? It is impossible. So taking risk, going beyond kind of your own comfort zone allows you or creates the learning and developmental opportunities. If you don't stretch, then you may remain in that kind of status quo, which is not a good thing. And while on this curve, on the journey, definitely one should buy in or believe in the growth mindset. With a fixed mindset, I'm sure you can't really achieve in today's era. I'm sure if you students must be looking into it, that exponential growth and exponential mindset in the world. The Elon Musk kind of people or Peter Diamandis, Ray Kurzweil kind of people, they're talking about exponential growth, which is 10x, 20x, 50x. It's not x or 1.5x. So with that kind of mindset, I'm sure we should really work on the growth mindset, which will take us forward. The next one is, again, reflection. The reflection on a very regular basis. Take a pause, reflect on whether you're doing good or you're not doing good. In both the situations, reflections does make a lot of help. And there is an important role in terms of learning curve point of view as well. The next one is external recognition and encouragement. Definitely AIMS try to do that. But yes, beyond even AIMS, whatever we are doing currently, those measures may not be good enough. But we'll be happy to explore working with our team which is there. And one important factor which is being mentioned earlier, how even the ecosystem can give support to women, young leaders, potential leaders for that work-life balance. I'm sure Apurva did mention and other colleagues did mention in terms of giving support to women leaders or leadership pipeline in terms of managing their multiple roles, multiple responsibilities. That gives a tremendous strength to them. If the boss is not going to allow them with that kind of consideration, it's going to be a challenging situation. So I think to retain good people, we need to be far more supportive to them. And certainly people do face obstacles along the path, but that resilience aspect must come into the picture, and we should respect that resilience. If the people going through the ups and downs, in fact today companies do pay resilience premium as a part of the placement package. If the people have gone through the ups and downs, that has not been seen as a kind of stigma in your life. But definitely this is being seen as a positive side. And sometimes in terms of certain decisions which we differ, and sometimes if you are getting the fastest growth, at least my personal sense is we may have to go through certain stages in the life because there's a learning curve. If you go very fast, it's quite possible that probably the steps which you need to really grasp, or the learning curve point of view, that you may miss out. And so at that particular one stage, one should certainly look into it, that whatever is profile given to me, I personally feel that love what you do at that stage of the life, and later on maybe do what you love. So there are multiple aspects like this which we definitely can learn from women leaders. But at the same time, this, what I shared with you, my thoughts, is not only mean for women, but for men as well. And I'm sure students will take it in a very positive sense in terms of these aspects, because you are looking at that wonderful opportunity to be MDs and CEOs of the companies. Thank you very much, Induji and the team. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is my great honor and privilege to introduce the distinguished scholar and trailblazer, Dr. Jhansi James. Dr. James holds the historic distinction of being the first women Vice Chancellor of Kerala, having led both Mahatma Gandhi University and the Central University of Kerala as its founding Vice Chancellor. Her illustrious academic journey includes a postdoctoral Commonwealth Fellowship from the University of Warwick, UK, and Faculty Research Fellowship from the University of Toronto, Canada. A celebrated author, literary critic, researcher, and translator, Dr. James has made profound contributions to literature and academia. Her service as a member of the Kendra Sahitya Academy highlights her dedication to enriching the cultural and intellectual landscape of our nation. Today, we are truly fortunate to have Dr. Jhansi James with us, and we eagerly look forward to her words of wisdom as she continues to inspire us with her leadership and academic excellence. Please join me in extending a warm and heartfelt welcome to Dr. Jhansi James.
Esteemed dignitaries on the dais, Dr. Indra Parikh, Dr. Meena Chindamani, Professor Uday Salunke, Dr. Radha Devanur. I think Dr. Indu will join us soon. Mr. Sudhir Sharma, and all the important women leaders and dignitaries of the dais, and my members of the faculty of SCMS, and my dear students. Well, sitting here, or coming here, I thought I'm a sufficiently empowered lady. But sitting there, I felt that, my empowerment is overtaking me. it was overwhelming to listen to my fellow speakers. Women's role in the proud growth of this nation is something that should actually constitute a vital part of the curriculum of this nation. We have a woman president. We have had women president earlier also. We have women chief ministers. I would consider this time as a wonderful time for women, particularly because from many platforms like this, we can hear success life stories like this. They are real life stories. I don't think I should indulge in that kind of a thing now because maybe my story may not match, the kind of story that was narrated here. But still, I have also a history of, learning from women, from the family. The only daughter, the only child of a teacher, school teacher in Vaikom, which is a nearby small town near Cochin. She was a great teacher, my own teacher too, and became the DU and later got into politics and became, I think, probably the first woman chairperson of a municipality in Kerala. And having come from a very, middle-class family, growing up as the daughter of a widow, and coming to St. Teresa's College in Ernakulam and becoming the union chairman of the college in 1948. And my daughter now, I have two daughters and a son. My daughter, who is a senior government pleader in the High Court of Kerala, after taking a PhD, after two children, PhD in law, she keeps shuttling between Delhi and Kochi and Cochin's Delhi Supreme Court. And I have a daughter who is in Dubai, who is holding a managerial position after taking an MBA from Christ University, and now keeping herself upskilled. And she says she's having customers as, if I mention the names, you'll be shocked, the industrial tycoons of the world. And my son, who is in Delhi. So of the three, I think, I have more things to say about my daughters than about my son, although he's a wonderful person. So the opportunity for growth and development is immense for women. At the same time, the irony is that one of the tragic things in our country is actually the waste of resources of women. Well, now we have come out of the traditional concept of not sending sending girls for higher education. We are happy. They are given the freedom to go in for, the highest in the educational field. But at the same time, are they allowed to make optimum use of their learning, their resources, their educational qualification? Work-life balance becomes a great challenge. And many women actually lead professional lives which are far less than what they can if they're given the freedom and the opportunity and the strength. So now this is a forum for contemplation and learning also on academic leadership of women. I found that University Grants Commission is now preparing, it has already issued a guideline for the training of leaders in higher education. Well, we are in an evolutionary stage. The education is changing its texture, its quality, its goals, its outcomes. So what does leadership in a higher education institution mean? It's very, very different from how we started. I became a Vice Chancellor in 2004 after serving as a director of a center of the university for 12 years. I was not nervous. I think I did quite a good job. Again, when I became the founder Vice Chancellor of a central university, it sounds very nice, but when the appointment came, it came as a fax. This communication, media, etc., was very, very poor at the time. So it came as a fax message across the, in a computer center, across my road, across the road of my house, and you're appointed as Vice Chancellor. So I asked the secretary, then Arjun Singh was the president, was the minister. So where shall we go? Oh, madam, that you can decide. So then I consulted the education minister of the state. So where exactly is the university? Oh, madam, some years ago, we sort of sent a message to central government that we can spare 500 acres of land for a central university. So that is still in our records. Well, in a backward state, that is 16 university vice chancellors are appointed for. Backward. So Kasaragod is the most backward place in Kerala. You go to Kasaragod, and there is some land, all over it. That was the beginning, and I stayed in the government guest house for 1 month with my loving husband. Thank God he was there, he had retired by then. And staying there, I had to look for land, And finally, I don't want to go into details, finally I got 500 acres of beautiful land on the side of the national highway. And every Friday we had to give a status report, to the central government. What have you done? And I joined in March, and we were expected to start a course by October. And I did. 2 courses. One is my own subject, so that I can teach comparative literature and English, and the other was economics. I invited the best minds in the whole country from JNU, from everywhere. We had workshops. I said, please prepare the curriculum and go. I can give you 5-star hotel accommodation. No problem. You just sit and do the work. We'll take you to Anandapuri temple. We'll take you to Bekal Fort. We'll take you anywhere. But hand me the curriculum. It worked. So then, construction, I've never constructed anything, In a state university, you are being supported by a whole system. I didn't know, I had just 2 crores as a check. I didn't know how to handle it. I had no finance officer. So, I realized, I'm just sharing this with you because I realized that I had so much of capability in me. I never knew that. I never thought. So this is the remarkable talent and resource of a woman. Even you don't know how much is there within you. So this is a wonderful time. At the same time, see, why do our students in Kerala, I don't know about the other states, in Kerala, a few months ago, I had to, be the chief guest at a convocation of a college. So it was a short notice, at very short notice. So I agreed anyway. I'm a retired vice chancellor. I have some time, so I agreed. And I like to be, in the middle of academic people, students especially. So then I said, why at such a short notice convocation? Madam, if you don't conduct it today, within 1 week, 80% of these students who are waiting to get a degree, they will have left for countries abroad. They have all got admission in other foreign countries. So I said, why? This is a wonderful infrastructure, wonderful building. Not so bad. Teachers are quite sincere and committed. And why do they go away from you? Why are they not happy with you? Madam, they don't get any jobs here. And whatever the job they apply for, they are not competent. Employability doesn't go with the education here. So this is a reality. See, already it was mentioned by Dr. Apurva with all her great experience. See, employability is an issue. This demographic dividend of nearly 50% under 25 years, wonderful thing. But not even 12% are employable. This is a reality. And after having passed, lived here in such a nice, posh area, you go out, and where do you get a job? You know, the driver who was driving me around the last 3-4 days, my daughter's driver, he's a B.Tech from Tamil Nadu University. He's a driver. And what is his mindset? So jobs are available, but not in tune with the kind of education that you've got. So academic leadership now has to strengthen itself and revamp itself to suit the requirements of future education. The future is in the hands of the academic leaders. That's what I believe. And this upskilling and reskilling, kind of jargon that we are flooding the academic world, are we really practicing it? Now, I understand that the Prime Minister's internship scheme is going to be, in practice. So, my dear ladies and gentlemen in this department, the upcoming students of this institution, I have a relationship with this institution from 20 years ago when Mr. G.P.C. Nair, the founder and mentor of this great institution, was there. I came as a chief guest for the convocation. It has grown much, remarkably. But this is also a time for contemplation. This is also a time for innovative changes. As you know, the 3 C's the 3 R's are gone. Now we are going in for 3 C's: communication, collaboration, creativity, analysis, critical ability. So the C's have overtaken the R's: writing, reading. And also, in this age of digitization, you have to be careful in using technology. Much was talked about sari and pants, sari and shirt. We have to blend. If I ask you to wear sari, even my grandchildren will not do it. This morning, my granddaughter she's a student in National Law School. She was wearing, I don't know what. I cannot even define the kind of dress the children are wearing. You enjoy, no problem. But you have to be proud of the indigenous, native resources of your culture. That is why these ladies are all successful. Not because, they lived a traditional life. It's not that. We are not traditional, but we are proud of our tradition. Similarly, blended education, where you can make use of your technology for empowering your own innate abilities. This part is underutilized, actually. Whatever AI may come, I think much more is left here. So don't be lost to technology. Technology is disastrous too. It is highly empowering, it is also disastrous. So make the best of it. Don't go for the easy times. Actually, technology, online courses should trigger you into higher sources of knowledge. And even leaders of academic leaders of higher education should actually restructure the entire campus culture into preparing a climate for motivating the students to go for such, search for higher learning. And women, as you know, we are wonderful in making use of, resources. How mixie and blender and microwave and pressure cookers changed the lives of my grandmother. I still remember that. So make the most of the resources, make the most of technology, at the same time to strengthen yourself, empower yourself. Of the 18 research scholars who took PhD under my guidance, only 4 are men, 14 are girls. And one of them, some of them come, used to come after MA. At the time, UGC net was not mandatory. They used to come. It was a time when, marriage proposals were coming up. So they come to me and then they prepare a synopsis. And then very soon, registration takes place. Then they come with an invitation card, marriage invitation. And then they disappear for some time. Then they will come with 1 chapter draft. But by the time, slowly, a life has taken roots inside them. So then, 3 more chapters, draft chapters, and then they come with full belly. Okay, but they complete it. And I wait for them. I'm patient enough. And one of them, I remember, she became a grandmother. She's my friend also. She took 9 years to complete her PhD. So by then, lots of things had happened. But I waited. And all of them, how it changed their lives, their professional lives, their self-esteem, their position in the family. So now one of the things that I think the future upcoming ladies who have ambition, you must have ambition. If at all anything that was, given to me as the most precious thing in my life by my mother was ambition. She always reminded me, you're born for greater things. So that was like a message that always worked within me. Don't settle for the mediocre. You can still go high. So each one has one's own, limited resources, also extensive resources. Identify that. You identify the worth in you. Identify what you're fit for. Another important thing, sari, pants, whatever. You have a lot of peer pressure, I know. You care more for your friends, and my grandchild says she's got a three-member room in her hostel. But Mama, I slept, we had 7 people in our room last night. We all got together and we had a nice time. So friendship is great, is very important. You have a lot of, I know that you feel more comfortable among yourselves than with your parents. These are realities. The gap, the generation gap, X, Y, Z, 3 generations, millennials, and the Gen Z, so different, very different. At the same time, you have to decide what is the image that you set for yourself, and what is the image that you want the society and the world would appreciate in you. You decide. You don't have to tune yourself to society or to the world or to others, but you must be sure of that. I'm sorry to say there's a lot of confusion, and confusion will upset and de-empower women. Have clarity about your personality, your ambition, everything that you do, everything you dig out of AI, everything that you get from technology. You think, I don't know whether all this social media, all this perpetual, continuous engagement with the digital world really stands in the way of proper thinking, clarity, and also a trust and a faith in our own tradition and our own values. I'm a Christian. I always carry with me one message from the Bible. It's from St. Luke 16, I think. Be innocent at heart like the dove, but be clever and sharp like the serpent. So it is not to be foolish, it is not to be slavish, it is not to be submissive even. It is to be strong, clever, intelligent, discreet. At the same time, hold on to some values of life, some truths of life, have faith in them. One of the most difficult things in this world is, I'm sorry to say, the elder generation does not give you many good models. But that is not an excuse for you to spoil your life. Make yourselves good models. Make yourselves. And for that, you have to identify and mobilize the good things in you. It's so much, it's just piling up within you. Anyway, I'm just stopping, but I'm really concerned about the way higher education is moving ahead. And this is in the hands of people like you. Every day, great changes are coming up. And one thing I would say, this a complete reduction of educational career to providing employability also is not something desirable. Ultimately, it's the person who matters, what you achieve, what you are at the end of the day. So teachers have a great responsibility of mixing, of balancing the demands of employability, the demands of this practical need, and at the same time, the essential requirements, values of education. Education, the task of education is to replace an empty mind with an open mind. So that openness, and that I think mind is like a parachute, they say. It works only when it is open, otherwise it doesn't mean anything. So this openness, the tolerance, the compassion, as Dr. Indra Parekh rightly said, compassion, kindness, fellow feeling. Even the United Nations goals, it means about this of the 4 goals: learning to do, learning to learn, learning to do, learning to live with one another, and learning to be your own self, what you are, your entity, your identity. How are you shaping it? Very important. So wish you all the best, and thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm so happy that I got an opportunity to come to this brilliant institution. I wish the institution all the best, and I hope that in a short time, this institution will prove its worth and will become a leading institution in making the country richer and more glorious. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I invite Dr. Indu Nair, AIMS Executive Board Member and Group Director of SCMS Group of Educational Institutions, for the vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Distinguished members on the dais, off the dais, and my dear students. The idea of celebrating women in academic leadership and engaging in a meaningful deliberation with all the stakeholders was germinated in the minds of AIMS leadership late last year. Thus, the baton of conceiving one such event called AIMS Empowering Women in Academic Leadership Summit was given to us, Dr. Apurva and me, in that executive board meeting of AIMS. Dr. Nandagopal sir, who is immediate past president AIMS and he's present here, was the actually key person to get us going and start this organizing this particular committee for the summit. Maybe because I was part of the ACBSP same kind of Women in Academic Leadership committee in Washington, DC in 2002 and in New Orleans in 2023 for ACBSP. And while looking at the inspiration inside the country, we found that there was one such initiative by the National Women Vice Chancellors Conference promoting women leadership in higher education conducted by Association of Indian Universities in 2023. But there was not much of a talk otherwise happening in this arena. So that is what kept us going, and here we are today, and amongst all these distinguished speakers, and really proud that we could make it to this day. So going ahead, as I was saying, this was AIMS initiative by the present leadership of AIMS office holders, and I must say that vote of thanks should start with AIMS President Shri Sudhir Sharma, Chairman, Master School of Management, in his absence, of course, but in presence of ma'am and his daughter, the chief patron of the summit, the chairperson of summit, Dr. Apurva Palkar, about whom you heard and understood that she is a woman to reckon with, and the conference advisor, Dr. Nandagopal sir, immediate past president AIMS, and Dr. Uday Salunke sir, who is the past president of AIMS as well as group director V School. So thank you, sirs and madams, for this event, which is beginning a dialogue of in developing women in academic leadership, as well as we all really appreciate and understand that gender equity and inclusivity in higher education are essential for creating a fair and inclusive society. So as part of the ma'am also mentioned, most recent surveys, only 3% women are at the top. So we must be bringing in more leadership skills among the existing deans and directors so that they lead the show. I would request Dr. Apurva Palkar now to come forward, ma'am, and please hand over these mementos on behalf of AIMS and the organizing committee to the guest of honor. Though Kerala is a very progressive state and promotes gender parity in terms of providing education, we find almost negligible women in academic leadership. Dr. Jancy James, founder Vice Chancellor of Central University of Kerala and Mahatma Gandhi University is one such exception. Ma'am, we are thankful to you for agreeing to come and deliver the inaugural address. For one thing we know beyond all doubt, nothing has ever been achieved by the person who says it can't be done, said Eleanor Roosevelt. And this quote fits aptly for our guest of honor, Dr. Indira J. Parikh, President Antardisha and founder president of Flame University, former dean of IIM Ahmedabad. As we know her, she has been a pioneer, be it her course in early 1980s or the foundation of Flame University. Ma'am, we thank you very much. We are honored by your presence and really appreciate all the efforts taken by you in coming all the way from Ahmedabad and believing in us and believing in this cause. Our next guest of honor, Dr. Meena Chintameneni, Pro Vice Chancellor NMIMS University, is another star woman in leadership posing in one of the most India's prestigious university, leading from the front. A person who is known to us as an advocate of quality education and strong supporter of women leadership. We wish to thank you, Dr. Uday Salunke, sir, Group Director V School, Mumbai, and past President AIMS. Though is part of the organizing committee, we will thank you for coming here all the way and be with us for this special address today morning. He is a very staunch advocate of Viksit Bharat, and we believe, sir, Viksit Bharat is not complete without women being a part of it, as it already says so. So thank you very much. The conference advisor, Dr. Nanda Gopal, sir, who is amongst the audience, I wish to really acknowledge his presence and give it the memento to him. Ma'am, please kindly hand over, sir, kindly come over. It is an encouragement and the source of inspiration from him that we are able to do this today here. Of course, Dr. Radha Tevenu, who is Group Director and Registrar, not new to you, but for providing us all the space and all these facilities for the AIMS to have this conference secretariat in this particular premise, we would ask Apurva ma'am to kindly hand over this memento and the recognition for all the SCMS Cochin School of Business. Now we wish to thank Dr. Apurva Palkar, founding Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra State Skill University and Chief Patron of AIMS Walls. On behalf of SCMS Group, thank you very much, ma'am. It is an honor and privilege to be working with you and having you here with us this morning. I would fail in my duties if I don't thank some of the women leaders who have come all the way. I must say far and wide. As you can see the profile written in the program brochure, be it Dr. Narayani Ramachandran, Director NMIMS Bangalore. She has come all the way from Bangalore, as you can see, but not because just her presence, but making her available for all the calls that I have made to her and all the chats that we had, and offering her, voluntarily to be part of this program. We really, really are thankful to you, ma'am, for being here. Dr. Neelu Rometra, Professor at the Business School and Dean of Research Studies, University of Jammu. And as you can understand, she has come from Jammu, traveling all the way to us, making this conference far and wide, as I said, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Really made it possible. Thank you so much, ma'am, for being here. Dr. Amishi Arora, of course, she is part of AIMS in a different way, but then she's the business school director as well as president of rest of Maharashtra chapter of AIMS. Thank you, ma'am, for completing the panel of AIMS Women in Leadership and Business School Directors panel, and traveling all the way from central part of India, which is Nagpur is very much central part of India. We are expecting Dr. T. Beena, principal of Happy Valley School, soon here. She's driving from Coimbatore. Oh, she's already here. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Beena. And this is something which is really we really appreciate your time. Tomorrow's panel, we have Annu Matthew. Again, we are very proud to see her in this list of industry panel. In fact, she's our alumni from batch 2000, and she's the talent acquisition leader for APAC and GE Healthcare. Anisha Cherian, I think ma'am is here, Director Chemanur Academy. Yes, thank you so much for being here today itself and being part of this particular gathering. Then there is Deepa Murli, who is again UNICO House Financing AVP. Thank you so much. Dr. Ranjana Varghese, again I think Ranjana is here. She is part of the XIME Kochi team and she's a Dean External Programs. We are really glad, ma'am, you could make it today to this August gathering as well. We are going to end this summit on a very positive note, I must say, with G. Pungurali, the IPS AIG and Nodal Officer, CMO Patrol Petition, a star IPS officer who is very powerful woman officer and has really demonstrated the work-life balance in so many ways, in so many forums. So we are really looking forward to tomorrow's sessions as well, and that is how we are going to conclude this summit by tomorrow evening. So we wish to thank all the participants who have registered from various colleges in Kerala. Again, we have people coming in from Tamil Nadu as well. Thank you so much for all the way coming from Tamil Nadu and being part of the team. There is a team of faculty and students here from Tamil Nadu who has come, and they are part of the audience here. Rest of our students and faculty members who are part of the organizing team, and as we say, no function, no concept can be materialized unless there is a big force of people running behind the scenes and making sure that everything goes right. So thank you so much for all the comparers, all these people who are part of this particular team who is organizing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. We have come to the culmination of the inaugural session. We request the participants and the students to proceed to the atrium for the tea. The session 1 will begin at 12:55 p.m. Thank you.